I've heard the rumors and tales of calling out sick the day before signing day or the day of signing day, not the day before, but a flurry of commitments, four commitments, a decommitment, and a ton of news in between. Can't say we didn't tell you to look out on vtscoop.com. Coming to you here live on Kolby's Corner from a freezing Blacksburg, Virginia on December 2nd, year of our Lord 2025. Jump into some of those commitment news. We have three-star offensive tackle commit from Woodbury Forest, Buddy Wegdawm, about to join the show and jump into all the recruiting intel ahead of the sprint signing day. So appreciate everyone jumping in here. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. Make sure to subscribe to the show. It's been a ton of fun getting this going, so subscribe. It's free. Like the video, share it with a friend. Also, vtscoop.com. I tried to implore everyone last night. That was the last night of 75% off. We're still running 50% off on the annual subscription over at vtscoop.com. Signing day is tomorrow. If you feel like you missed out today and you're calling out of work tomorrow, no better place to be. Your favorite reporters looking out over there for Virginia Tech intel. Could be a busy evening. Obviously going to be busy tomorrow. So make sure to check it out. Appreciate all the support. But with that, let's bring on Buddy Wegdom. Buddy, how are we doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, sir.
First off, you're a little bit different, obviously, because you're one of those holdover guys. You committed to Brent Pry and this staff back in June on the official visits. What stood out to Virginia Tech and made you say, okay, this is still somewhere I want to be?
Originally, ever since like sophomore year, I've been like, I went to camp there 2 years ago. I went to camp a bunch of places, and I was like, if I'm going, I want to go to Virginia Tech. That's bottom line. So my recruiting process started kind of late, didn't really pick up till January of this year, and then I started getting some traction. And then going on my official visit, I was looking at other ACC schools, really NC State, and I'm not gonna lie, NC State was probably going into my official. That's where I was probably gonna go, and just the feel of Blacksburg, even though there was nobody there, it was just like I got back to what I felt sophomore year when I was at that camp, and it was just like I want to be here. So I canceled my others, looked at NC State, and then knew it was Virginia Tech. And then when Pry changed it up in the coaching staff, I was still fully committed on Virginia Tech, not just for the staff, and they were a great staff, but also for just the community. So headed into Franklin, great coach is just a benefit to what the school has added onto it.
How about down the stretch? I know you talked about some other ACC suitors. I believe Duke was also in the picture there late. I mean, what does it take that faith, because he's going to come and bring in his guys. You talk about what Virginia Tech stood out, but on that official visit when you got to spend time with Franklin and some of these other people when you came up, what stood out about them?
Especially on like just when he got the job, he called me and we were in contact. So I took a unofficial 2 weekends ago. I was supposed to be at Duke last weekend.
Yeah.
And I canceled it to go to Tech just because I knew like Franklin's a good coach. Even when they were recruiting me at Penn State, it was like if they offer me, it's going to be hard to say no. So when he went to Tech, he was just preaching that since we were from the old guys, and we stayed committed to Tech. He's just always going to respect that loyalty and feed into us. And really, we're just the start of a really special foundation of what's being created there.
When you're on that unofficial, what does that process look like? Knowing that you're in the boat, you're in the fold. There's obviously a lot of other top prospects there. Are you recruiting? What sort of hat do you wear on those visits?
I was wearing the recruiting hat because I got a teammate at Woodbury, Junior Saunders,
yeah.
I mean, that would be great if he came down with us because we got Sheldon there, Hudson with a preferred walk-on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was wearing a recruiting hat for that and the Penn State kids. So, I mean, as many people we can get in Blacksburg, the better.
Talk about that relationship. We'll get into Junior a little bit, but with Sheldon, you coming in, and I know at Woodbury you can't early enroll, but what do those conversations look like with Sheldon? Someone who's been in the program now for a little bit. What is he relaying back to you guys?
We've always been in contact ever since he really left. On my OV, he was recruiting me. He was like, "You don't even need to go to NC State," and I was like, "Yeah, but I got to do it." So we've really been close with the coaching change. He was always keeping me updated, even if he didn't know what was happening. So it's been really good to have somebody on the inside of the program, even though I'm not there yet. And kind of sometimes it's me relaying information that he doesn't even know yet to him. So it's kind of a mutual relationship, and that's really cool just to have that connection from high school into the next level.
So for someone who hasn't seen you play the day before signing day, a lot of people are catching up on a lot of these commits. What's your style of play? What do you bring to the field?
I mean, I used to be a tennis player before I got to high school, so I'm kind of an athlete in a big body. I'm like 6'6", 270 right now, so it's not like I don't mean to brag, but I don't have a lot of fat on me. That's a big thing going into college. But yeah, just move around, athletic and violent on blocks. So I think that's what's good out of me.
What's the biggest thing that you're trying to look to work on or focus on before you head to school? Is it weight plan, or what have you heard from Sheldon and some of these other guys? Like, okay, this is something I really want to focus on before I head to school.
Our weight program's actually super strong. We had our coach was an all ACC center at UVA, so he instilled like our fall camp. Sheldon will even talk about it. He's like, those workouts are brutal. Like really, they say that they're preparing you for college and they're not lying. So, but for me, I kind of I think I'm going to try to bulk up to like 290 before I get to school. And that's just to go in with kind of a head start because other guys can go in January and I'm still racking up to a weight that I can be at playing weight. So kind of putting on weight while maintaining speed and agility. That's what I'm going to be working on coming up to college.
Yeah, Sheldon was a guy who came in ready to play, as you've seen pretty early coming out of that program. So you're planning on signing tomorrow. Do you know what time?
I'm signing at 8 a.m., so pretty early.
Nice. And I know on the official visit, you've obviously checked out a lot of the facilities. Do you know what you're looking to study in these next couple of years?
Either sports, media, and analytics or something in business. I'm not going to lie. I'm not the type of person to kind of sit behind a desk all day. I just don't know if I have that focus in me. I'm a guy that needs to get around and do stuff. So I kind of want to get something in that field.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, Buddy, anything else? Last message to Hokie Nation for signing day.
I'm excited seeing all these guys come in. You know, great guys. We got something great going on there. Good future ahead.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. That was 3-star offensive tackle Buddy Wegdawm out of Woodbury Forest, Virginia. Really dynamic player, obviously someone a holdover from the Brent Pry era. But like you said, you cut on the film playing in those private circuit up there, very nimble, very aggressive at the next level, good foot speed, does a lot of really nice things. So good to see. Appreciate Buddy coming on the show. Moving right along, got a ton to do. Got the phone up here if anything pops, but been a very busy day. First off, news of the day, 4 commitments. Starting off with Benjamin Azuka coming from Michigan, obviously the longtime Penn State holdover along the interior offensive line. This class, when you look at it, you've got 7 offensive linemen now. A lot of those guys' frames are kind of projected at that tackle position. So Azuka is definitely a guy who's looked to project inside. Really dynamic player in his state championship or state semifinal game. Not long ago, he just had a thick 6, as you might call it, playing on the defensive line. Picked a ball off, or it was a fumble and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. I think that got some airtime on Monday Night Football. So someone who's really athletic as well, to pair with guys like Buddy and Thomas Wilder, some of these other guys who have really dynamic foot speed. Next, Davian Fat Rat Brown out of Trinity Episcopal in Richmond, Virginia, another really dynamic athlete that obviously had a great connection with James Franklin because he committed to Penn State, decommitted, had a great relation with Fontaine Mines, being in that Richmond area. Can't be undersold. I know the 24/7 rankings are what they are. Listing him as a 3-star. This is one of the best players in the state, arguably the best offensive weapon, and it's a class that's really deep. And there's a ton of really, really great players on the offensive side of the ball in Virginia right now, but someone who is dynamic with the ball in his hands, really does it all. Can yards after catch machine, someone who's a really dynamic player that has a big get in the fold. You look at what they've done along the offensive line, getting some guys on the defensive line. They got the quarterback in the class, and now they've really got a top-skilled pass catcher, so to round it out with Messiah Mickens and some of these other guys. You can see a full class starting to come together. And then next up, it's like, how can you keep stacking the chips even higher? Another guy where you can look at his 24/7 sports ranking and his listed height, and couple questions there. Still time to play out in some of these rankings, but Hopewell, Virginia, defensive lineman Teron Richardson, decommitted from Oklahoma yesterday, commits to Virginia Tech today. And also someone who was silently committed to Virginia Tech since that last official visit weekend, all the way up until pretty much the time he committed and Oklahoma swooped in, but had a great connection with Virginia Tech, was obviously very high on the Hokies. And eventually James Franklin's staff was able to flip it in their direction here the day before signing day. Really massive. I mean, such a great athlete in a massive frame. Now he did field events, shot put. Someone that Oklahoma wanted really bad. Brent Venables obviously has a very good track record of picking guys up on the defensive line. Can't speak highly enough about him. That 3-star 87 grade seems a bit low because he had really big suitors down the stretch. Ole Miss was trying to get involved down the stretch. Obviously, Oklahoma was there, but really big. Now, to pair with that, and we'll get into some other news, Adrian Ace Hamilton, the center from St. John's up in D.C., had been committed to Virginia Tech since July. He flipped to Michigan. Now, this was to be expected if you're over on vtscoop.com. Like I said, this is the place to be with all the intel coming down the stretch. Guy who projects at center was the UA Baltimore MVP on the offensive line, so he's a very talented player. Visited Michigan this last weekend. Obviously, a little bit of indecision with new staff coming in. And, the Michigan offer still means a ton. So, saw that coming, but still, they were able to backfill and then some along the offensive line, getting guys like Wilder, obviously with Wegdom, Terrell Simpson as well, Marlon Bright, Purgatory. They backfilled and then some there on the offensive line. And then last up, nightcap, most likely the nightcap, we'll see. Tyson Harley, edge, Penn State commit, someone where massive get. And I said that for all these guys, but really there was not one today that was not just an absolute banger. Composite 4-star up in Gonzaga. Christian Gerdick on the basketball team, the center, obviously teammates up there at Gonzaga. So they have a connection, but what a massive get. Composite 4-star. I don't know if T-Ron's actually a composite 4-star, but he's a 4-star by other outlets. Davian Brown is definitely a composite 4-star. But when you were to go back, and even months ago when Pry was in the saddle and they were recruiting at a high clip, these are top of the board guys. T-Ron was obviously silently committed and someone you felt good about. But to lose him, that was a bummer. And he was, arguably a top 10, top 15 guy in the state. Davian Brown is every bit a top 10 guy in the state. And to get Tyson Harley, someone who's been committed to Penn State and breaking into the DMV. Virginia Tech has done a decent job in the state of Virginia, but when you look at that DMV, there is a wealth of talent in the D.C. and Maryland area that Virginia Tech, outside of a Noah Chambers and a couple guys from DeMatha, they really haven't been able to tap into. You lost Ace today, but that is a pipeline up there that James Franklin is going to open up. Really, really nice get for Virginia Tech the day before signing day with those guys. And yeah, there's a couple other notes, but those commitments, super big. Make sure to dump questions in the live chat. It's been a hectic day, so we'll touch on any questions regarding those guys or what's to come tomorrow. Some other notes, someone that I mentioned on the show last night that is I don't really foresee Virginia Tech really being in the mix for, but is still kind of brought up in this next day. Anything can happen. Tavian Branch visited Auburn, got a couple different suitors sort of murky there. I also brought this up on the show last night. Everyone wants to hear about staff. John David Baker at East Carolina talked about that last night with the smoke. Definitely heard some more smoke with Virginia Tech and him today. Does that happen? I'm not sure, but there's definitely a lot of buzz there stemming from him and East Carolina and obviously some of the personnel there. Not sure how all that shakes out, but I've heard that name again. And I think lastly, before we get into actual signing day recruiting intel tomorrow, I believe this class at one point was 124th in the nation on the team rankings calculator. And right before I went live, I believe it's at 30. So in essentially 2.5 weeks for James Franklin and co, all the staff members that followed him down here to flip that class is pretty astonishing. And Doug Bowman over on vtscoop.com is going to have some great pieces on blue chip ratio and how the talent level has been raised. Now, games aren't played on paper, but still, there's a pretty good track record there showing you get more talent through the door, equates to more wins. So, what an amazing job, especially when you look at some counterparts and how it feels like the Titanic is sinking at some different stops the day before signing day. But, what an amazing job. Now I'm shifting to signing day tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel. make sure to subscribe, like the video, share the show with a friend. Only going to try and keep getting this content better and better and better as we move on. But thank you guys so much. VTscoop.com, 50% off for tomorrow. Before we get into this intel, this show will not be live. I'll go live tomorrow, but once this show ends, there's going to be a ton of twists and turns. The place to stay the most up to date is VTscoop.com. I'll try and have multiple live streams tomorrow. This is a great outlet for that. But the best, latest intel, VTscoop.com, anywhere, 50% off. That is going to be the place to be if you want to be in the know tomorrow. Just have to get that out there. That is the best place to be. It is absolutely buzzing with activity. Get over there. Half price, $60 a year. No better time. Okay, now hopping into it. Wednesday, you got a couple commitments there on the CBS Sports YouTube channel. Matt C., Terry Wiggins, both going to announce on the CBS Sports YouTube channel. As of this moment, I still think there's a little bit up in the air. With C, obviously, it's coming down. I've been saying on the show, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, the hometown school. I would give the slight lean to Virginia Tech. I think they get that one across the finish line. Same with Wiggins, having some other suitors, but I think Virginia Tech gets that one done just based on some of the intel. Mari Polydor, another corner there with other shooters out west. And I think Virginia Tech probably closed on those guys. I think they're going to try and wrap that up relatively soon. There's a couple of names that they're keeping warm off. And I know people always want that because those names have been charted, obviously, with their connection to Penn State. I think there could be a couple names that are more off the radar or deep end that try and take a big swing at on signing day to catch people off guard and obviously keep the hype train rolling. But those are the names that I'm watching with connections to Penn State that I think Virginia Tech has to feel very, very good at. Still work to be done, but I think they feel good in general. As of this moment, I see people saying done deals. I think they sit very well. I'm not sure if those are completely all the way there yet. But with that, basic intel, just tried to dump it all. It's been a full day, so we're going to get some sleep tonight and try and be fresh for tomorrow. But you can, it's like after the football season starts, no one's 100%. It's just trying to get back. So that was basic intel. Make sure now subscribe to the channel. Don't have any questions in the live chat. We'll go as long as we need to, but appreciate it. If you missed it, we had Buddy Wegdawm on at the top of the show. Make sure to go watch the replay with him. I'm going to have hopefully some more interviews here ahead of signing day and maybe some other interviews on this channel or Inside the Tunnel here soon with some very interesting people to note. But yes, thank you guys. Don't have any questions in the live chat. Let's get into those right now. Mari Smith, Matt C. tomorrow. Like I just said there, I think Virginia Tech, they're in a battle with Pitt, but I would give the lean to Virginia Tech. I feel good as of this point that they land the top 100 safety. Godfrey Pay saying, do you see any more D linemen committing? I don't have any currently on my radar at that position that I'm tracking or seeing. That's not to say that none will pop up, but as of this point, no, I don't see any more D linemen hopping in the fold. Now that's not to say that I think that's going to be a position that is circled and targeted very heavily in the transfer portal. I believe I said that on the show last night, along the defensive line and at the edge position specifically, pass rusher. I think they're going to spend pretty big there in the transfer portal to get guys. I think it is of note today, Kamari Copeland was named third team All-ACC defensive tackle. Now, I know he's getting NFL looks, and rightfully so. I mean, he had a pretty solid year. So how does that retention look? I'm not sure. But for the signing day tomorrow, unless I'm forgetting anything, I'm not seeing any D linemen on my radar. Got Josh saying Penn State is cooked. Yeah, they're definitely not in a great spot right now with the class. I mean, they're really staring down the potential of a one-man class, which would be insane. And I guess even the modern era. I mean, there's a couple Power 4 schools where you look at and you're sort of scratching your head. I mean, that was Virginia Tech just a couple of weeks ago, where I mean you're down really in the bottom of the barrel. But I mean, what the flip of Penn State is crazy. Like literally less than 12 months ago, you're in the Orange Bowl with a drive and a chance to go to the national championship game. And now, less than a year later, you seem like you're still further away from signing a head coach. And no class to try and stopgap and try and pick up the pieces. So definitely in a tough spot. I don't know how they come back from this. I think it's going to be pretty tough for them. Got Higgins saying any staff updates. Like I said, it's just continue to be smoke around John David Baker. Heard his name again. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. I heard, there was a timeline like, hey, we want these announcements around signing day, the next weekend, the following weekend after the bowl game for different teams, especially with some Penn State staffers who could potentially be coming. The bowl game was sort of brought up. We'll see. I mean, the latest news on that will be vtscoop.com. I assure you that. So make sure to check it out there. Yeah, Mark, same with Terry Wiggins. I think Virginia Tech has to feel pretty good there. He's announcing on the CBS Sports YouTube channel. I think Virginia Tech's in a pretty good spot with him. Yeah, Joseph, I've seen this question come up a lot. Can you give us a schedule for tomorrow, when to watch, where to watch? I'm not sure if they're doing a live stream. It looks like I think they'll be doing updates from their socials. It looks like Triumph's NIL will have a live stream from 11:30 to 12, and then we'll have the press conference, I believe, starting at 12:30. Tried to get Franklin, some of the staff on the show. Couldn't make that work. Sounds like we'll try and get that later in the week. I'm not sure exactly how their framework for going live is or what they're going to look like. I'm going to go check it out, see what the scene is, and if not, I'll be going live here from this program to keep everyone updated. So make sure to subscribe if you want live updates, because I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I don't think the first morning part is going to be live streamed. So make sure to subscribe here because we'll have it live and give the coverage as everyone's signing. Daniel Phillips says, any other possible players we are targeting that we haven't heard about? Sounds like there's a couple just offshore, but vtscoop.com is the place to be for that tonight. A couple to monitor. Nothing real firm or concrete, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Got Higgins talking about Deontay Sheffy. Did he get offered? No. The Syracuse running back commit, I guess he decommitted, was rumored to visit for the Miami game, or was trying to get up for that weekend in the last weekend official visit. Never hosted him, so I don't see anything panning out there. National Signing Day. It's my favorite holiday. Got Joseph Matthews saying, any shot that someone's going to sign from out of nowhere? Yeah, there's always a shot of that, especially when you have an ace recruiter in James Franklin, and a very, very unique situation to be in this place where you're pulling a class together last second, you see a ton of momentum, and you try and get people involved with that. So there is a chance. There's a couple names we're watching over on vtscoop.com. The tunnel message board is the place to be if you want that intel for tonight and tomorrow as things unfold. But I don't know. I think a lot of these are pretty cut and dry. So the ones you're watching is those Penn State connection guys. Got a good question from Sideline Shenanigans. A few names I want to check on. Jalen Burrell, Matt Segan, and Terry Wiggins. So Burrell, no involvement there with Virginia Tech. That was a prior staff deal. Obviously transferred to St. Francis. Some behind the scenes there with the position he was playing in different situations. I no checking in on Jalen Burrell. Nothing moving there. Sieg and Wiggins, I think you both feel pretty good about. You got some battles down the stretch. They're both announcing on the CBS Sports YouTube channel. Might have a live hit on there some point tomorrow. I know their coverage starts at 10 a.m. I believe Sieg's commitment is at 12:30. I'll have to check on that. If you want those specific details, they're on vtscoop.com. But both Sieg and Wiggins, I think Virginia Tech has to feel pretty good about right now. Got Amari saying anything on the ODU quarterback. There'll definitely be interest there with Colton Joseph. I was just in Norfolk there over Thanksgiving break. There will definitely be interest, but he's going to have a ton of different suitors as well. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with the offensive coordinator position. You've seen it become very prevalent across college football. Devon Dampier out of Utah coming with his offensive coordinator. Mateer obviously going with Arbuckle, following to Oklahoma. It's sort of almost become the trend. But does Mestemaker do the same down to Oklahoma State and follow Morris? So I think that'll be interesting if whoever the OC personnel you bring in, if they bring their quarterback with them. So I think that'd be interesting to see. Yes, Beamer's King says, Kolby, you dizzy from all these flips. Trying to keep the head on straight. We committed to doing the live stream tonight. We're going to run it. But, man, it's been a day. Got a good question here from Florida Hokie 8633. What's the chance they flip forward? I don't realistically see that one happening. I just don't realistically see Ford. When you look at that Penn State class, that's what I was just referencing. If they're going to have one guy stick around, I believe that will probably be Jackson Ford, edge prospect up there from Pennsylvania, someone who is pretty tied down to the school, which is, almost rare in recruiting these days. Obviously, a lot of the relationship is with the head coach, but I don't know if I really see that one happening. Now, it's still on the table, and Virginia Tech is going to fight and push for it, but I think that might be the one that stays faithful and committed back there to Penn State. Got some odd comments in the chat. We're here for it after an odd day. Yeah, Higgins talking about the wide receiver commit to Virginia Tech. Yeah, Davian Brown. I mean, there's quite a few really good players in Virginia this year. You talk about Valenstone at Georgia, Darius Gray, 5-star lineman committed to South Carolina, Sabian Hyder committed to Michigan. You got a lot of really good players, but Davian Brown should be and could be in that conversation with a lot of those guys. Last, as we're sort of wrapping up the chat here, any rumblings about Landon Clark from Elon? I know he's a Radford guy. I haven't heard anything. Right now, so much, and like this, not to say they're not neglecting the transfer portal, but really all the emphasis is on signing day and trying to get this across the line tomorrow. So I think that's where the majority of the focus is. Transfer portal will come into a clear light very soon. I see questions about Penn State. I think you have to look at a lot of those guys and know that Virginia Tech sits in a good spot with a ton of those Penn State guys who are planning to enter the portal. But we'll cover that as it comes, because I say it a lot. I don't really like to traffic in predicting, projecting, or saying before guys enter the portal, because guys will make up their mind a full way and then have one meeting with the coach and change their mind. So it's a fluid situation. If a hire at Penn State is made, it changes things for guys. If Virginia Tech goes a different direction, it changes things for guys. So there's intel on that, but we'll leave it at that for now. Another thing to note, as I'm just sort of thinking out loud here, Isaiah Pino, the tight end commit from South Lakes, Florida, he announced, and I don't know if we got a VIP board post on it before he made the announcement, but it sounded like he was going to sign in February with the actual signing day period. He still plans to commit to Virginia Tech, though, honoring a scholarship. It's just, going to quote Evan G. Watkinson, numbers always work out in a situation where you have to juggle those numbers and just give yourself a little bit more time. So that's that situation. Got G Money, Virginia Tech saying, can Franklin get to a top 20 class? I don't know if they can get to top 20. I always was saying pretty much as soon as this came out, top 30 would be the projected baseline. Like that would be a really big swing and a nice swing. And as I click live on this, they are 30th. So I think that's still probably the ballpark 25 to 30th range, which is insane in 2.5 weeks. It looks like Virginia Tech basketball is going to overtime. So appreciate everyone sticking around to watch that. Tyler Johnson's fouled out. So I didn't even know that was going on right now as we're busy with signing day. A couple more questions for a head out. Got MDJ312 saying, personal question, what's your long-term media goals? talk about college football. And I mean, I adore college football. So covering recruiting, college football, just anything in the digital media space. Sort of, I mean, a little bit what I'm doing right now. But that's a good question. I guess still sort of honing that in, but definitely college football and digital media. A show like this is really cool. Obviously, still working through a lot of different kinks, but getting that going. And, the message board is such a fun place to be. So just being in the know, providing value, having a good time with college football as we're sort of going off the rails. Higgins, has Franklin met the current team? Yeah, he's definitely met with different guys on the current team. Has had a lot of conversation with current players' parents. Just, checking in. I mean, this is pretty standard if you're not going to a bowl game, having exit meetings with guys, checking in where they're at ahead of, they have finals and different responsibilities here at the end of the semester. They are students after all. So just having those exit meetings, trying to plan out and just big board about where things shape up. But with that, a little bit of a shorter show. We don't typically have a Tuesday night show. I'm going to go back, cut this Buddy Waggdom video, get that out if you missed it, and then prepare for tomorrow. Strap in, hold on, because it's going to be a wild ride. We'll have all the coverage here, so make sure to subscribe, like the video, and get over to vtscoop.com, because if you want to know about the latest in recruiting for Virginia Tech, that is going to be the place to be. So thank you guys tonight. We're going to continue to get better, keep this show going. It truly does mean the world. I close every show, but I'm so grateful and thankful for this opportunity, and we're going to try and run with it and make the most of it. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. Sleep with one eye open, and God bless.